Well, hello there and welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for watching. So today we are doing a frame review. We're just going to have a brief look at what we get in the box, a little bit of an overview, a bit of a rant about something. This is a really good illustration of it, in a positive way for Diatone, in a negative way for everyone else, I'll add. But we're going to have a brief look at it. Then I want to discuss the build that I want to do with this over the next couple of weeks. So I'm not going to put the frame together, but we'll see the parts and what we get in the box. And then I want to discuss some of the parts that I'm going to use in the build, make this a bit interesting. And there's a particular reason why I've gone for this frame and not other frames in this class, which is the 4-inch long range class, made popular by Dave C. Been working on the designs for a year or so now, and he's produced a great frame and a great design alongside Flywoo, and obviously everyone else is looking at that design and taking inspiration. And making their own frames and things like that, and this is from Diatone. Really nice frames. Diatone in their Roma range have made some great quads, 3-inch, 4-inch and a 5-inch frame as well, 4S, 6S, some really nice builds that are getting a lot of good reviews online. I'm sure you've seen a lot of them. So as we said, this is the Roma F4 long range frame, so it's a 4-inch long range frame quad, in what you might call a dead cat style. So it keeps the props out of view of the camera. So if you're running like an HD camera system, then you won't get the props in view, and you get some nice long range footage, hopefully long flight times as well, but perhaps not with the motors I'm going to go for, but we'll get to that in a minute. So as we said, really nice packaging. A lot of companies could learn from this packaging. I mean, you're looking at it here and it's just a nice product in a nice box. It makes you feel like, well, I bought something good quality here, as opposed to all the parts being chucked in a bag and stuck in the post, maybe with a bit of wrap around it with some tape. It's in a nice box, taking a dent as well in delivery, which is good. So it means I know everything in here is fine and not being damaged, even though it's pretty hard wearing. It's carbon. So nice box. So we'll open the box and then we get our second positive thing. Another thumbs up for Diatone. Look, we've got an assembly manual, how to put it together. Exploded diagram of the quad, where all the parts go, all the bits and pieces, how to fit it together. I mean, is it so hard for companies to put one of these in their bag or their box? It seems apparently it is with some companies, but there you go. Naming no names, but I'm sure you've come across them. And then we've got all our parts list as well to make sure anything missing, though I doubt there will be from the way it's packaged, but looking very nice. Very helpful, even if you don't necessarily need it because you've been putting frames together for years. Still useful to have, especially if you're new to the hobby and you don't know quite where all the parts go, especially if it's an unusual design, which I believe this is just a slightly unusual design. So that's the assembly instructions. And now look, we've got the main parts. So we've got the top plate and the base plates and the arms, and look how they're packaged. It's vacuum sealed. Feels like someone's taken care and attention just to put them in these vacuum sealed packets, just to make sure they're all well packaged, and they look really nice and good quality carbon. We can see that it's really strong across the arm there, very nice indeed, but we'll get to that in a second. So there's our parts there, and now we open the rest of the box up, and look, we don't get one, we don't get two, but we get 3 battery straps of varying sizes, thicknesses, for whatever lipos we want to run. Is it going to be a lithium ion? Is it going to be a 3S? Is it going to be a 4S? Is it going to be a 650 4S or a 1300 4S? If we can squeeze that on there, we might be able to. But we don't know, but they've given us the options. Really nice. So another gold star for Diatone for their packaging. And we get our hardware, nice little bag, all divided up as we can see. Let's open this up. And all the little bags, all the little bags, all nicely just there, ready to go. The screws have got labels on, so we don't get confused. Have to start measuring to see which size the screw is. Everything there, nicely individually packaged. Really, really nice. So we like that. The hardware. Then we've got our mounting for our HD camera. We've got like a universal mount there, so we can mount whatever we want. We could use this and then perhaps stick something to that, put that on top, and then maybe we could stick a camera mount or something on there if we wanted to. But we've got the options for whatever camera we want, and we can change the angle depending on our flying style. We're flying a bit more smoothie, we're a bit flat, so we want the camera to be a bit flatter. If we're going a bit slower, if we're going a bit quicker, then we can change the camera angle to suit our speed and get the right framing for our shots. It's important with these because, yeah, they're long range, but people are using them for some good footage to get that really nice long range footage. There's some dramatic videos online, really beautiful photography by some excellent pilots. I really suggest you check them out. Some really, really beautiful photography showing what this hobby can achieve. Really, it's not just for guys, you know, having a good time ripping, which is a great part of the hobby, and I enjoy that much as the next pilot. But it's also a hobby, you know, that can encompass photography and cinematography and all of that, which really shows how versatile and great this hobby really is. So we've got our mounting options for whatever camera we want to set up with that. A big camera, or perhaps a lightweight naked camera like a naked GoPro or something. We've got options there. We've got some antenna tube if we wish to use a diversity receiver, 2.4 gigahertz, XM Plus or something. We don't want to go too far away. We've got that antenna tube. Then we've got our 3D printed parts. Let's move this box out of the way, shall we? We've got some 3D printed parts there, which we'll get to in a sec. And then we've got a battery strap, a lipo mat to stop our lipo from slipping, if I can get the words out. So there you go. Anywho, so these are 3D printed parts. This one hangs off the back of the quad, and you put your GPS in there if you want to run a GPS, which is probably quite a good idea if you're going long range, if only to get your GPS coordinates. If you happen to lose your quad and it falls out the sky, you've got the coordinates, so you can put that into Google Maps and go and find your quad, which is useful. And then you've got a mounting option here for crossfire if you want to, mounting it horizontally, which isn't the best mounting option for long range, but it keeps the large antenna out of the props, and for most people it will give you more than enough range. Go beyond most VTXs unless you're running like 1 watt plus VTX, so that's fine horizontally. But I think with this quad I'm going to use the Immersion RC Ghost, and that should fit in there nicely. Obviously the antennas won't stick out as far, but that should fit in there and get some good long range performance out of that receiving system as well. And then we've got a little antenna mount here, so we can mount our antenna tubes on those two sides for our diversity if we're running that. And if we're running, I don't think you'll fit a sizable antenna there, so it's not like an SMA or something like that. I think if you're running perhaps the DJI system with their thinner sort of antenna tube that sort of sticks in that or something like that. So you might have a bit of difficulty if you want to mount an antenna system with that has a SMA connector on it, an RP SMA connector on it, but we'll see how that goes. Some options that we've got for the antennas that I have. So there we are. We've rambled on enough about the frame. I'm not going to quite put it together yet because I want to do that as a build, and that will come in future videos. I want to show what's in the packaging, but I want to show you my thoughts on the build. Now with these builds, normally they run a 1404 motor, which is a good size stator for giving good performance for spinning your 4-inch prop. Needs a bit more sort of heft in the motor to do that, but also giving good economy as well. You get long flight times. I've seen videos 20 minutes, 30 minutes of flight time, especially with a lithium ion pack. And even with lipos you can get good long flight times with that sort of size motor. It's a good setup. But I'm going to run something a bit more powerful. I'm going to run this guy here. This is also a motor from Diatone, a Toka range motor, but this one here is a bit bigger than a 1404. This is a Toka motor. See how notchy that. Oh, really, really notchy motor. In fact, it was so notchy that I thought, oh, maybe it's binding or something. So I took another motor of the 4 that I've got out, and yeah, no, it is definitely that notchy, and it's a, as you can see, we can get to focus. It's a 1606, and it's a 3750 kV. So slight 2mm bigger on both dimensions, and 3750, which is a bit of a higher kV. Normally they run about 3000 kV. I've seen some with a higher kV, but they have flight times are a bit shorter. But these motors are really, really nice, designed for sort of 4-inch perhaps, or maybe a 3-inch cine whoop or something like that. We'll get to weigh it in a second, but the reason that I wanted to use this particular motor was something, not really saying, the performance of these 4-inch quads. Well, they're okay, they cruise quite nicely, but they haven't got any ripping power because they're sacrificing that power performance because they're wanting to do the long range and the smoother sort of gentler flights. So I thought if I put a beefier motor, yes, I'm going to draw more power, so I'm going to get less efficiency, maybe only a 5 or 10 minute flight as opposed to a 15 or 20 minute flight, but I think we'll get more performance out of the quad. I want to see how it performs. I mean, the arms are pretty strong, pretty nice arms. We'll tell the thickness if I can dig out my calipers. Pretty strong. Now, they might not like the bigger motors, but these arms can take the bigger motors, because if you can see, we've got a mounting pattern here, and it will suit a 9mm and a 12mm mounting pattern, which is one of the reasons why I went for this particular frame. Also because you get all the parts in it. I know a lot of other frames don't have any mounting options that come with them. You have to print it yourself or buy it as an extra for mounting a HD camera on. So that's one of the reasons I went with this Diatone frame. But also because I can mount the bigger motors. So hopefully the arm should be able to take it. I mean, they're pretty strong. Let's open this one up. Here we go. There we are. Great seal. And so there we are. So really, really nice carbon. See that? Not too flexible there. I'm bending it across the whole length, which is the weakest part, and see, I'm putting stress on it, but not too bad. Let's have a look at this arm. It is, I'd say, it's probably around about, it seems a bit narrow at the end, 6mm up to 7mm at the other end. The thickness is 3mm. So not the thickest arms in the universe, but very, very strong, and that tapering as well. Good quality carbon cut, and what we can see on the outside in the right direction of the carbon. So really, really nice. So hopefully it should be able to handle these motors quite well. Not much motor protection there, but it's going to fly really, really nicely, I'm hoping. So we'll get to that in the build. Let's just have a look at these motors as well. We're getting a bit of a bonus first look at these motors. And let's see if we can't measure. This is long enough. Up to 150. And we're getting around about, I'd say about 140 for the wire length there. And we'll also just do the weight. We can get the box open. So let's get the weight of this motor as well. So see, a bit heavier, a bit chunkier than what this frame is really designed for. 17.558, but we'll give it a bit, I should say 17.5 grams. So not a really ultralight motor, not as heavy as obviously a 20 or a 22 or 23 size motor, but a chunky motor certainly for this design frame. So we're going to see how it goes, how it handles, but I think it should fly quite nicely. But that's a project for the future. So we've seen what's in the packaging, we've gone to the motors, some of my thoughts on what I'm going to do with this particular build. So we'll get to that in the future, and there'll be another video on this in the future. I'm not sure when, depends how things go, but if you click that subscribe button, then you'll know when I'm uploading it for the future. And if you want to as well, if you like this content, I appreciate it. Well, you maybe like it, maybe you don't, but if you do like it, well then a thumbs up would be really helpful. Really help the channel, and really help what we're trying to do here in producing this content. So I'd appreciate that. But that's, as we say, up to you. So thanks so much for watching. Been a bit of a rambling video, aren't they all? But thanks so much for watching anyway. I really appreciate you spending your time watching my content. I know your time is precious, so thank you for that time. And perhaps I'll see you in the video in the future. So take care then. Bye bye.